So first of all, it's super nice, actually, for me to see all of you here in the Wix office. So welcome. I hope you're having a great, great time. So from assurance to advocacy, how to drive the quality culture. I'm Miglė Paškauskė, Guild Manager and Tools Team Lead in QA Guild. I have a bit of more than a decade experience in QA field. I'm a mentor in different mentorship programs, and actually I'm super proud of some of my mentees who are sitting here today, you rock girls. I'm a lecturer in Vilnius Gediminas Technical University, and as you can see from the picture, I'm a board sports newbie, so if you have any advices how to become better, faster, approach me afterward. So I want to give you some context about the Wix because it's super important for my presentation. So I want to start with a Wix vision. Our vision is to empower any business, community, or person to create and manage their dreams online. So what does it mean? So we started as the Flash editor already a while ago. But today you can create pretty much everything what you can imagine on the website, starting from the landing page, continuing with the website for the conference with the ticket solutions, or continuing with the pretty complex business solutions. So talking about the Wix around the world, we have offices in 17 locations, and in 8 of them we have R&D sites. And Vilnius is marked as black just because we're sitting here right now, but it's also one of the biggest R&D sites in Wix. So talking about some numbers, we have a little bit more than 260 million users in more than 190 countries. We have more than 5,300 employees. Out of that, we have approximately 2,000 employees in engineering, and out of that, we have 130 employees in QA Guild. And the most important number here, and for you, you need to remember that, it's QA versus dev ratio. We have 1 QA to the 10 developers. So continuing with some of the numbers, what's interesting that we release more than 800 new features every year, and as an average of 447 deployments to production every day, meaning that we update our production every 3 minutes, meaning that while I'll be standing here and will be speaking with you guys, our production will be updated more than 10 times. So, from assurance to advocacy, the journey. And here, actually, I want to start with my personal story. I joined Wix already a while ago. And I started in the team where we worked with BizDev. The team was called BizDev, and we worked with applications which was created by the small startups or third-party developers, and they wanted to get into the Wix, meaning the whole team is outside. Every day I was working with developers from different countries, different companies, and they were not working on Wix. They just wanted to upload their application to Wix. So my role actually was pretty challenging, let's say, and very fast I faced common QA challenges. My role was very, very reactive, and I was at the end of the line of the testing without even a chance to do something earlier. I pretty fast noticed some quality ownership, lack of quality ownership in these teams because they knew that Wix is providing product managers, designers, and QA, so we're going to test and tell them what they need to change. I was also a bottleneck with the manual testing because sometimes the configuration took me 2 days to set up everything for testing, to set up everything in the right way that I could actually testing. And also the cycle was the worst as you can imagine. They do something, I get something. I retest, I return to them, and we are playing this ping pong over and over again. So talking about automation, it was delay or no automation at all. So my role was to execute the same stuff over and over again. So pretty much the perception in this specific team was as a gatekeeper. My only role was to test the things, do the functional testing, and say whether the application was good or bad, whether it can be uploaded up market or cannot. So then I did the internal mobility into the Wix, and I actually started to work with the Wix teams. Also, some time passed, and I knew already very good how I can fix all the stuff which was bothering me previously. So Agile was already a thing back then. So I was as QA involved early in the product planning and all these things. We had continuous testing processes. I was able to provide fast feedback loops to the team. Wix was and still are very, very dynamic company. Everything can change. If today we think in one way, tomorrow we can rethink to different way. So I really needed to have very adaptive approach if I had any kind of the checklist. And I had a huge focus on automation, and I took it to the critical focus that even the smallest hover on the tooltip was automated by me back then. So if I'm taking the feature lifecycle and making it to show you how it looked in the practice, I divided in the high level in the feature lifecycle: product planning, development, testing, release, and production. And if I'm speaking about my responsibilities back then, at the product planning, it was pretty obvious, writing checklist or test plan, basically just thinking what I want to test and how. In the testing, execute the testing and verifying bug fixes. And when we are close to the production, writing end-to-end test. An interesting fact, by then, we already in Wix didn't work with any testing or staging environments. We started to move to release everything to the production. And we're working with experiments, feature toggles, gradual rollouts, so we always can control who sees what. So it was in the high level my role, so pretty solid baseline, but not really. Then also some time passed, also some internal mobility was done, and I think actually it was 2019 when we had a QA Guild management offsite in Ukraine, and first time ever I heard about the word QA Master or QA Champion. So then we had a discussion, what is actually QA role, which will work in Wix case, that we could provide everything what we want, but we will bring more impact, and the feedback loop would be faster, because we had a lot of automation. We did a lot of testing, but still it was too late. So back then, when I heard about all this QA Master and QA Champion thing, I thought, okay, there is no way it can work in Lithuania just because everyone in Lithuania worked 80 to 100% on automation, and it meant that the percentage will go lower. But with the years and with all the lessons, what we learned in Wix, good lessons, bad lessons, actually I also changed my mind. And if I'm talking about QA role today, this is how it would look in the feature lifecycle today. So in the product planning, one of the most important stuff for us that QA should be a domain expert. Not only domain, but Wix expert as well. Meaning that if we potentially have any risk where it can go wrong with other team or with whatever inside our team, we should be aware about it and we should raise it to the team before things actually happening. Then we will do the obvious, build the checklist or the test plan, build the automation plan, but we also think about the resources. And here the advocacy part starts. We will start to think how we can involve more team members into the quality or testing activities, that all the activities would be spread around the team rather than would be executed only by QA. And here we will start to think about the bug hunt. And the bug hunt in Wix is group testing activity where all cross-functional team sits together and tests together. So talking about the development phase, we will also do the obvious. We will refine the checklist test plan if needed. We will write maybe some test cases for developers if needed. But the most important part here is that we need to have agreement with developers how we actually testing and automating stuff. In Wix, developers are the owners of automation, while QA are contributors, meaning that we do have expectation that developers will automate pretty much everything. So here we need to have the agreement with them how actually we're gonna work and how we're gonna split responsibilities, because in different cases it can be different agreements. And ideally, QA engineers will check the pull request to understand what was covered, what was not, that we could indicate the missing gaps, and then either we will fill it or developers itself gonna fill it. So in the testing phase, we will execute all the necessary testing. In Wix, we work with the progression, exploratory, and non-functional testing. And this is a place where we're actually going to organize the bug hunt, meaning we will book a room, order some pizzas, invite all the team, and ask them to test. And this is the best way when all the team can actually feel whether we are building the right quality product or something is off. And transparency here is marked not by the accident. In Wix, no one will ever come to you as a QA and ask, did you test it, did you automate it? We do have expectation that the transparency will come from QA, and QA will tell to the team what was tested, what was automated, and what should be tested in addition, and not necessarily by the QA. So in the release phase, we also making part of this, and we are together with the team making sure that the right monitoring is in the right place, and that right automation is triggered at the right time and at the right version. And in the production, of course, we will, once we are releasing the features, of course, we will be a part of the bug investigation, bugs prioritization, everything what is related to the customer care. But if we will have a bug, we need to go to the team and ask questions. Okay, did our monitoring or automation catch this issue? If catch, when did we see it? If we see it, how much time it took us to fix it? So it's really about asking questions and creating the feeling for the whole team that all of us are responsible if something was let go to the production. And here we also have participate in post-mortems meetings. And post-mortem meetings in Wix is a meeting that if we launch any issue to production in user complaint, which touch main team KPIs or main business KPI, all the team will be gathered to the one room to understand why they happened and what we can do that it wouldn't happen again. So basically here in all this, we try to expand QA responsibilities and QA role to the matter that in each different phase, QA would try to advocate the quality, would try to involve more people, and will split the responsibilities within the team. But does it actually work in reality? What do you think? No. The majority says no. Actually, it depends. So you cannot even try to read because it's too fast, and I know it. But basically, it depends on really different features. If we have a small feature scope, our goal is that it wouldn't even come through the QA because we don't want that QA would do the verification testing. Developer will test it, will automate it, and that's it. We just need to give the confidence to developer that he could GA. And if it's some migration or big refactoring, probably we will be focused the most on the automation. So we will talk with developers who should automate what, and we will work all together to make sure that we have a good coverage and we can release the feature. So in each case, it really depends, but we are aiming towards that we would create an environment where we not be needed in all the cases, because we really believe that QA can focus on the most important gaps. And this is why you need to remember that we have 1 QA to 10 developers. If we would try to test and automate everything, there is no chance we would actually make it. So how to drive the quality culture, the advocating part. So actually at the beginning of this year in QA Guild, we launched the internal QA book or handbook, where we also have the whole chapter dedicated of quality activities and how we can add more team members to our quality and testing activities. And we also have a QA Guild philosophy, which has 5 main statements. QA stands for quality advocate. Every decision is based on data. Quality is shared responsibility effort in the company, and company here is just a team in my presentation scope. No manual regression, and developers are the owners of automation while QAs are contributors. So in the Guild, we also believe that modern testing principles are right, and we try to adapt it in the Wix concept that we will be in the places where we are needed the most. So QA stands for quality advocate. So we strongly believe that QA should be the one who is bringing the quality flag, but it's not the only one who cares about the testing and the quality, meaning that QA should always think how we can add more team members into the quality and testing activities and how we can actually have a good quality products. So in Wix, QA engineer responsibility is to strive to identify any bottlenecks if we have them, and remove them rather than provide safety net. So our QAs are actually not allowed to test every single feature because we really want that the ownership will be on the whole team. So quality is shared responsibility effort in the company. So here I can, as you can see, or maybe at the end you cannot see, but here we have I have a different roles. So here it's a product. So product managers will always test the happy flow, and they will make sure that we're building the right product in the right way. BI guys or girls will make sure that we are implementing the BI events at the right time with the valid data, meaning that we also don't need to test analytic things. UXers are gonna make sure that all the design was implemented as expected, plus that user experience is smooth. And all the developers, despite of their profession, will test their feature and they will automate the happy flow. So as a QA engineers, we need to oversee everything, and actually on each case, on each feature, in each product, we need to define where the QA is needed the most. Maybe UXers need the help, maybe BI guys, maybe front-enders or back-enders. So it really depends on the team. And in Wix Lithuania, we have 10 teams which has a QA, and in all 10 teams, QA role looks a little bit different. It's still the same with the same common ground, but still it would be twisted to the exact company needs, how it should look like. So you might ask, so what QA automates if developers automating everything, right? So actually there is a lot, because still the front-ender, back-ender doesn't matter. They will test what they created, right? They are working on the feature and they will automate the scope in that feature. So QA engineer will close these gaps between different developers on the same teams, and it can be between two front-enders, front-end and back-ender, mobile, and it doesn't really matter. So usually QA should review the pull request, should understand what is the coverage, and just focus on the gaps which are remain, especially if we have integration between different teams. Here, our developers are not taking ownership, so here usually where QA automation brings the biggest value with automation. So this is Wix journey on the QA role. And Wix is a very dynamic company. I'm pretty sure that it's not over yet. I'm pretty sure that few more turns are awaiting to we fully define the QA role at Wix. But we strongly believe that the whole team should own the quality, and the quality person is just someone who's bringing the quality flag to the team, meaning that we always have someone who's raising the questions, but all team is responsible for answering them. So for the lunch, I want to leave you with a few ideas what maybe you can use in your teams and companies, maybe even tomorrow. So to advocate quality mindset, I strongly recommend to focus on prevention over detection. Each bug which we find, flaky automation, failing automation is just a result of incorrect process probably somewhere before. So as QA engineers, we should identify the main reasons of the poor quality and strive to remove them rather than sit at the end and try to find what is wrong. Also have a way to measure the quality. So if you want to actually make an impact, you need to give a data, right? If, for example, every week you're finding 10 bugs, so whether this metric could be good or bad, actually, it's very easy to say that we improved the quality because I can stop testing and I don't find any more bugs, and our metric increased in a good way just because we had the bugs and now we don't have. So this is not the right case. We really need to think what is the most important for our teams and companies and how we can actually say that quality was better. Whoop. And now I don't know what I did wrong. Okay, wrong button. Okay, so become a proactive instead of reactive. This is also what I mentioned already, but you need to move to shift left, at least in Wix. This is what we believe that we need to do. We need to start as early as we can. And if we see that it's enough to provide the checklist to the team, this is it. This is the end for QA in specific feature, and it's okay. And we need to accept that. So if we want to actually build the good quality products, we need to think before we even create the products rather than finding stuff at the end. And the most important advice from my side, take the ownership and stay patient, because in this journey, trust me, the patience is needed a lot. So thank you very much, and if you are on your journey to find the right QA role for you, let's talk afterwards.
Thank you for your presentation. We have some questions, and the most liked one is every decision is based on data, you said. No data, no decision?
Yeah, we actually need to be smart about it, because Wix is a product company. We track everything. We have data from our users. If we don't have a data, we meet our users. So if we just preparing some product, we will have a demo sessions with the users, and we will ask how they're going to use it and what is important. So if, for example, we have a case that, I don't know, we're focusing on the browser and no one Opera browser, with all the respect, if no one is using it from our users, who cares? Like, we're not going to test it, and we're not going to spend time with that. The whole point for us is to make sure that our users will be satisfied and our users will see the good quality. So we will focus on the main flows, and as a product company, we have a lot of data which can help us to make a decision. So in all cases, we have plenty of data, because we are working for more than 18 years, so it's already there.
Okay, the next one. Do you think QA role is dying, and can it be merged into other roles?
Actually, vice versa. I really think that this is our time to shine, because there is a lot of talks about AI and how it can change the role, automation, whether it replaces manual testing or not. Actually, in Wix, we believe vice versa. That's why we keep in the teams usually 1 or 2 QA engineers, because we really believe that it's super important role, because someone needs to ask these questions, and these guys are the domain experts of their product. No one better knows what potentially can go wrong. So with all these changes, we actually trying to use our QAs in the places where they are bringing the biggest impact in the Wix. So I think this is just our time to shine.
Good to know that. What is being released to production every 3 minutes? The question.
Can you repeat?
What is being released to production every 3 minutes?
Yeah, so basically all the teams are working directly with the production. So if we do any kind of change, we just push to production directly. So it can be anything. It can be new feature, it can be bug fix, it can be anything. And each time the team decides what they release. I don't know whether it's answering the question actually, but
yeah, but the next one is related. So when you run auto tests, if release happens quickly, quite usually every 3 minutes.
So when we push the code to production, it will be already tested. And this is actually the very good question. So who asked this question, you can come to me afterwards, I will give you something. We believe that all the tests should be run at the same time. So together, I mean with the developer. So it doesn't matter in Wix who wrote the test, whether it was QA or developer. We will trigger automation at the build time, on RC, and when we are pushing to production. So if the test fail, it doesn't matter also who wrote the test. Developer ownership is to sit and actually fix the test, and then we will push it. So these 3 minutes actually is already with the 3 times all the tests passing.
Good. Are you advocating devs on end-to-end automation or also unit and integration tests?
So our developers should write everything, all the layers. On QA, we usually focus on components integration or end-to-end test, and it really depends on that agreement which we have in the different teams between different QA and different development team. So our developers should write end-to-end tests as well, but usually it's a happy flow. So if it's edge cases, integration between different features, or integration between different teams, usually it's QA where we're stepping in.
Next one is interesting. How do you measure test coverage in Wix?
This I cannot say. We don't.
Yeah. You mentioned devs automate only happy paths. Why? What level of auto tests do you have then?
So we have a lot of unit tests, and these end-to-end tests is not necessarily end-to-end test what we, let's say, imagine by the book. In the Wix still we don't actually use these long end-to-end tests where we will do the whole flow from the login to buying something to checking out and stuff. We will divide these tests to the smaller piece of chunk to make sure that we are automating exactly the flow which we imagine that we will automate, because previously, also when we had extensive automation coverage, our test used to fail on the part which was not even the main idea of the test. Like if it fails on login, so we don't bother ourselves with that. We try to do everything as we can with the API, and we will focus only on the part which we actually want to test. So it's all kind of test plus the screenshot test. So.
Okay, so the next one, when everyone tests instead of just QA, how does it impact delivery time and speed?
Talking about the time, still we have very short amount of the time. Usually we don't have even couple of days for testing activities. We really try to deliver fast. Wix is a feature-driven company, and now we're taking more attention to the quality. So it can be that for the testing we will dedicate half a day or one day. It depends on the feature. What I need to mention that usually we work with a really small scope feature. It's not like we build a product and then without any testing, yeah, let's go. So it's a bit different story. We really try to divide all that code into small chunks, and then we just checking whether QA involvement is needed or all team involvement is needed. So everyone do their testing activities, and in that case, usually it's taking just a couple of hours, I guess.
And how does it affect the speed of the team, the developers, when developers are doing the test?
So we try to not bottleneck or stop the delivery. So testing is just part of the delivery, if I can say like that. So I cannot answer on specific time because there is no answer. We create something, we test, and we release. But usually, it can be done even in one day if it's small feature, but usually still it will take, I guess, 1 week or 2 weeks to create something. So half a day, 1 day, up to 2 days stops testing.
We actually have a lot of questions here, but probably the last one. Is there a place for junior QA at Wix? Sounds like you already have to know a lot to support the team.
Yeah, we do have a place, and for that we also have internship programs, but it really depends on the positions where we're hiring. If we are taking someone with a less experience, all the time we are giving the mentor next to new QA, because there is really a lot to learn and to understand the whole complexity. So usually we're really spending time, and it was the reason why we also tried to put everything to the book, that we would have everything in one place, how actually the role would look like, should look like, and we are always next to the new employees to help them to understand the Wix.
Thank you a lot for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.